Hello, everybody. Welcome to Crunch Squad. It's a podcast within a podcast wherein we discuss the rules, the mechanics, and the number crunching behind this wonderful game of Dungeons and Dragons. I am Ned Wilcock, the host for Crunch Squad, and today I'm joined by...
Josh!
Yes, we have done one Crunch Squad with you in the past, but now we get to do it full time.
It's been like 2 years, right?
It's been a hot minute since that Ralph episode, yeah.
I'm back, baby, and I'm here to stay.
Yeah, and today we don't have to talk about Ralph anymore. We get to talk about Buster Bilgewater.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I gotta tell you, man, I'm having so much fun with Buster Bilgewater.
Mm-hmm.
The Harengon is such a fun, race.
Yeah. It's one of the different races that have been released recently. It, for me, has just so much fun thematics surrounding it.
Yeah, well, it matches so well. It's not like everybody knows rabbits, you know what I mean? So it's so there's got to be some fun rabbity stuff in here, and I feel like they did a really good job of that with a couple of the different features.
Yeah, very good for a flighty, neurotic sort of wizard character.
Oh man, it's worked so well for Buster. It's been fun seeing him develop into. I feel like all of my characters of late have kind of been these I don't know, less than willing participant kind of snarky characters, just because I find that interesting. But it's so nice, as I play them. I think the campaigns really define the characters so much, and the party. Because I at this point I don't think I've played anybody like Buster. I think he's kind of developed into this unique creature of a character that is just a blast to play.
Yeah, and not to give too many story spoilers, but I think we've already seen a lot of the campaign informing the character. I feel like both of our characters have changed in some pretty unexpected ways already, even in just the first dozen or so episodes of this campaign.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think we've gotten to see little pieces of their even race-specific attributes show up in unique ways, and it's fun to see the interplay of how those features are used as a character.
Yeah, I think there's another fun little connection between Ataraxia and Buster in that both of our races are originating in the Feywild.
Yeah, that's so freaking cool.
And while the Harengon isn't actually a Fey creature type, I still think it's just fun to have that little connection there.
Well, it's the origins, right? It originates from there, even though my character, and I think the general idea is that they aren't actively Fey creatures, just ancestrally.
Yeah, and so they bring just a little bit of that flavor with them to the material plane, while still being humanoid, which during our last Crunch Squad we talked about what it means to be a Fey creature type, and there are benefits, but there are also some significant drawbacks to being a Fey creature type. So you don't have to worry about being planar bound to somebody's service for 24 full hours.
No, yeah, I'm bound to other things.
Yes, that is correct. Again, no spoilers for upcoming episodes of the podcast, but you're going to learn some interesting things, folks. Now, let's take a look at the next trait we got here, which is size. This is kind of a fun race in that you can choose whether you want to be medium or small.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. It's you want to be a tiny rabbit character, you can be a tiny rabbit character, regardless of your age, or you can be a regular human-sized. And yeah, I toyed around for a little while with the idea of being tiny or small, like a gnome or a halfling, and it just was man, I just don't feel like I've rarely played a small character, and I feel like it would inform the personality of who I'm playing so dramatically if I was small. You know what I was originally planning to do? And I veered away from it for the sake of I wanted to play a character like Buster. Originally, I was planning to be small and floating everywhere with big wizard robes that were made for a regular person, but he just wore, and he could just float. And so I was working out how could I make that work? How would that technically? Because I really love what's his name from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Orko.
Orko, yes. I love his aesthetic as a character. It's so iconic. So I was how do I make an Orko-like character with a Harengon was like my original idea. It evolved so much as I delved into it, but yeah.
I mean, you definitely did retain quite a bit of like the neurotic, very anxious Orko energy though, which is fun.
You can see that. There's absolutely a through line for sure.
Mm-hmm. So you know me, I like playing my weird little guys, and while Ataraxia isn't mechanically a small character, I did want him to still be a small guy. I think there are some interesting benefits to playing a small character, because there's that kind of question where if I'm presented with the opportunity to play a medium or small creature, why would I choose small? Because medium is kind of the baseline for a D&D 5e player character. And there's only a couple like specific mechanical advantages and disadvantages. So like in the book, it does say a disadvantage for playing a small character. You have disadvantage on attacking with heavy weapons, I believe is the situation there. Mm-hmm. And while it's not like specifically written out, one cool mechanical advantage that I like is the way that mounts work in 5e is if you want to mount another creature, it has to be one size category larger than you.
Yep.
So if you play a small character and you're like a Beastmaster Ranger, for example, you can just... Yeah, you can ride your companion around.
Yeah.
If you're going into a dungeon, like if you got this gigantic horse, you might have to leave the horse at the entrance to the dungeon and not bring it with you. But if you just got a dog that you're riding around on, then boom, you're good to go.
Yeah. Or a large spider, or like the...
Yeah.
There's a lot of options there. If you're looking at like medium creatures, you could have a lot of different things you could ride.
But aside from mechanically, it's largely just kind of up to narrative and situational sort of things, where like it could be a lot easier for a small character to get half or 3/4 cover by hiding behind a stump that other people might not be able to, or sneaking into a tunnel that other characters might not be able to.
Yeah, there's some like thematic opportunity there. Like you get a lot more grace from a DM if you're like a small character and you want to hide versus being like a minotaur and being like, can I hide behind one of our other players? It's like I don't think you could do that.
Yeah. Or like, if the barbarian wants to pick up your character and swing across the chasm, that kind of thing. Or throw them. That also.
Hey, that's teamwork. That's teamwork right there, man. That's
teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly.
Next thing we got for the Harengon is your speed. This is pretty straightforward. 30-foot walking speed.
Yeah, that's pretty average, right?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that you have that regular walking speed, because after this point, almost all of the Harengon abilities are about speed and about movement.
Yep. Yeah, well, what's interesting, what I think is kind of fascinating, correct me if I'm wrong, some of the like inherently small, like you don't really get an option small races, have a reduced speed.
Yeah.
Because of it. So like that's to me that gives it's not like as thematically fun for a medium-sized character, but if you consider like a small character that still moves at medium speed, it's kind of fun. There's a bit of that like Naruto run kind of idea going on.
Yeah, so that is a pretty interesting, like baked into this is that extra mechanical advantage for being a small character. The next thing we get, though, speaking of acting quickly, is the Hair Trigger ability. You can add your proficiency bonus to your initiative rolls.
And that's Hare.
Yes.
It's the hair trigger, yeah, which I love. I absolutely love. It's just so cool. Like you just get a little jump into the fight.
Yeah, and there are not many player options out there that will allow you to buff your initiative roll.
No, I think there's a feat, right? Like awareness or something like that, or is it like ready or something? There's a feat that lets you like add something extra to your initiative. But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen at least I'm not aware of any other race that gives you a bonus to initiative rolls. Yeah,
the only other one that specifically comes to mind right now is the Swashbuckler Rogue gets to add their charisma to their initiative. But yeah, it's pretty few and far between that you have a baked-in ability that lets you improve your initiative. So this is cool.
Yeah.
The next one, this is also pretty straightforward. Leoprine Senses, you have proficiency in the perception skill.
Which is very cool. I feel like that, along with the hair trigger, play into the rabbit theme really strong. If anybody's like, I mean, I feel like everybody who lives where like rabbits can live have encountered them, or like, or hares, but like the minute they see you, they freeze. You know what I mean? Like they're so hyper aware of their surroundings, the ears twitching around, and they are not like squirrels will let you get close. Birds might let you get close. Rabbits will not let you get close. They like the minute they see you moving anywhere at all, even if it's like horizontally, even like perpendicularly to their movement, they're going away. Like they run. So like, yeah, there is that like, I like that hair trigger, like as soon as encounter starts, they're immediately senses up. And then the perception I feel like plays into that really well too, with that like on edge, always ready for running kind of mode.
Yeah. And it's great for a person with my kind of sensibilities. To me, perception is the best skill in the entire game because I am all about information exchange and being able to like see what's going on around me, being able to pick up on all the little details. So for a person like me who just absolutely loves perception, getting that proficiency just baked into your race so that your different class proficiencies are open to other things is really nice.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I made the most of it with Buster. I'm pretty sure he has a negative to perception.
Oh, man.
I could be wrong, but yeah, I think I built him with is that wisdom, right?
Yeah, wisdom.
Yeah, and wizards are intelligence-based. I'm almost certain I have a deficiency in wisdom. So like, yeah, I'm grateful for those bonuses because without the hair trigger and without Leoprine senses, my perception would probably be a negative, and I think I would have really poor initiative. So they ended up actually like compensating a little bit. And instead of enhancing those abilities for Buster, they more or less like helped me even out a couple key features of the character.
Well, it's a good thing that you've got good intelligence because Ataraxia does not have good intelligence.
No, but he knows everybody's name. I feel like you got to be a wisdom powerhouse.
There you go. Yeah, charisma and wisdom. That is a good bard combination there. Let's see. Next thing we got is lucky footwork. When you fail a dexterity saving throw, you can use your reaction to roll a d4 and add it to the save, potentially turning the failure into a success. You can't use this reaction if you're prone or your speed is 0.
Yes, I love this feature. I don't think I've had a lot of opportunities to use it because Buster keeps himself pretty out of the crosshairs for the most part. But yeah, it's really cool having that extra. I mean, a D4 is more than people give it credit for when you're in a hot spot.
Yeah, and this is another cool area. I'm noticing this pattern sort of where the areas in which Buster might be lacking because of his build, he has just these little things here that make up for those deficiencies. Where you presumably don't have like the greatest dexterity as a wizard, I would imagine.
No.
So in this instance, if you have a fireball coming at you, this is giving you that little bit of an extra edge to maybe not burn to a crisp, which is nice. I'm
pulling up my character sheet because I realized I didn't have it up. But yeah, Buster's dex is only +2, which is pretty like average. People often like put tons of stuff into their dexterity, but the two skills that I like really focused on was intelligence and charisma of all things. But yeah, -1 to strength. Yeah, absolutely. If without the hair trigger, I would just have a +2 like to my initiative, but instead I get a nice +4, and yeah, my perception would be 0. If I didn't have that perception boost. But yeah, then the dex save is nice. Yeah, I don't have any like additional boosts to my dex save, so dex save would just be +2. So yeah, that's a huge help.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing here kind of a good case study in maybe like the opposite of min-maxing, because you could play as like a Harengon rogue who already has evasion, and then you add this lucky footwork on top of that, and you're never going to fail a dexterity saving throw, basically.
What does min-maxing stand for?
Min-maxing is the idea of everything that you want to be strong in, you push to the absolute maximum you possibly can, and everything that you don't care about, you just let absolutely flounder in the background.
Oh, so you got like -9 and +9 kind of deal. Like you're like, okay, I'm not great at that. I definitely feel like I don't do that well. I like doing things I'm good at well, but I also I try not to let my character get too stuck in the mud with certain other features. Yeah, you're right. This does especially with a wizard. This does a really interesting job of leveling out, which I didn't come at. I did bunny wizard because that sounds cool to me.
Right, and that's the way to do it.
I cannot emphasize how little I had looked into the mechanics beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, like Kobold Druid, that is not a mechanically great combination. But, you choose the combination that sounds fun to you, and there you go.
You get something really fun and interesting. Absolutely. You got to follow your interests, man, in D&D.
Yeah, and so then after our lucky footwork, we get to our final feature for the Harengon, the rabbit hop.
Do you want to read it? I don't want to get ahead of you.
Here, I think this is a really great one also for wizards, I think. So, as a bonus action, you can jump a number of feet equal to 5 times your proficiency bonus without provoking opportunity attacks. You can use this trait only if your speed is greater than 0. You can use it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
And boy, howdy, have I used the heck out of this ability.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's been an instance where I haven't used both of those in an encounter when I've had the chance, because it's so cool.
Yeah, and it only gets better as you level up, because currently you're jumping, 10 feet with your bonus action, plus 2 proficiency, and for anybody, this is great, but especially for a wizard, very squishy, low hit points, not a very good armor class, being able to say, oh, hey, you just ran up to me in melee combat, surprise, actually, you're not in melee with me anymore. And just that extra degree, that that ripcord that you have here is so nice.
Yeah, jumping out of opportunity attack is insanely useful. I feel like I've used this for that reason, but I've also used it to give myself a 40-foot movement speed. Yeah,
that's the really cool thing that's going on here as well, is this doesn't take up your movement speed. So you jump 30 feet, by the time you are by the time you've got your +6 proficiency bonus, just jump 30 feet as a bonus action, and then dash with your regular action, and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's almost 100 feet in one move, or one turn.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for a squishy little wizard.
I dig it. That's not even considering the spells that make you faster.
Yeah, you get Expeditious Retreat on top of that as well. Now, there is, I guess, just one little crunchy bit that I want to get into is with both Lucky Footwork and Rabbit Hop, they both mention that your speed has to be greater than 0. Mm-hmm. And this is in instances where, if you have the restrained condition, your speed becomes 0. And so if you're restrained, you can't bunny hop, you can't use Lucky Footwork. But again, those are kind of some more fringe cases there.
Yep. And to be clear, it's if your speed at its base level is set to 0, not if you've expended your 30 feet of movement already. Yeah, it's specifically if your character is incapable of moving.
Mm-hmm. Well, that there is all of the mechanical stuff for the Harengon, but do you have any other fun thoughts about the Harengon you want to share for all of our listeners?
I mean, the thing I like the most about at least the way that this has been portrayed visually by Wizards of the Coast and a ton of the book art and honestly at this point, I feel like a lot of the fan art for Harengons is how not humanoid they're made to look. There's not a lot of Bugs Bunny art. We're given the big snout, the jowls, you know what I mean? It's like you literally are taking it feels like the only part of them that is humanoid is the torso and arms, and you really get the hindquarters of a rabbit and the face of a rabbit really well. Mm-hmm. It's really satisfying for me. I like those visuals because it helps me I think immerse myself into that character a little easier.
Yeah, and I think it also ties in well with the Fey ancestry that this is a bit more of a bestial sort of race. That
yes,
it's just kind of like an archfey walked up to a bunny one day and said, "You're walking on 2 feet now."
Yeah,
and
I'm changing.
Now we have the Harengon.
I'm changing your hip bone, and that made a huge difference. I have these wonderful art books by Michael Lauricella. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce his name. I think it's French. But they're called Morpho books, and each one kind of covers a different, I'm showing Ned in our video chat here, but each one kind of covers a different aspect of rendering, of sketching, drawing things out. So there's a book on the joint forms and muscular function. There's a book on simplified forms. He does one on fat folds and one on hands and feet, and so I've got a whole collection of them. They're the best. I just love looking at them. And whenever I'm drawing something, I refer to them on things. And I have a book on mammals, a Morpho book on mammals, which covers all kinds of stuff. It's insanely cool. One of the things I learned from that book is that the human hip bone is crazy. It's actually one of the things that made us different than a lot of other animals is the way that our hip bone, our hips are created for us to stand upright. And most creatures, especially quadrupeds, their hip bones are like really thin and long, and they kind of like stretch up on either side rather than being this big bucket at the bottom of our torso. For me, what's interesting is considering like if I look at like a rabbit anatomy, the way that their hip bones are structured and the way that they're like big, what is it called, leoprine, like feet or
digitigrade.
Digitigrade work. It's fascinating for me, but I do question like what does the bone structure look like? Like how does that evolve together? It's really fascinating to consider. That is the most nerdy thing you'll get from me, I think. Getting crunchy outside of D&D, just like real life crunch.
But that's the nice thing about magic is Oberon can just walk up to a rabbit and say, your hip bones are different now, and you're good to go.
You'll never walk on all fours again. Also, here's some thumbs.
Mm-hmm. Thumbs are great. I'm a fan. Well, yeah, Harengon are great. If you want to see a great example of some Harengon in action, aside from our friend Buster, I'm currently running The Wild Beyond the Witchlight for one of my home games, and there's a really fun Harengon NPC in this book who can be very frustrating in combat encounters. But yeah, really fun adventure, really fun.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that from the enemy perspective, being able to just like come in, attack you, and then jump out of opportunity. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it's great. So check out Wild Beyond the Witchlight. Check out playing a Harengon in one of your own games, maybe, because they are pretty darn cool.
Yeah. Can I ask you one question, Ned, before we leave?
You may.
What class would you pair with a Harengon to make the most advantage? If you were getting min-maxi, like what class would fit well with all those features?
Ooh, if I were getting really min-maxi, it would be either Rogue or Monk, I would say. Probably Monk, actually, because they not only have the evasion side of things to team up with Lucky Footwork, they also have increased movement speeds that pair up well with the Rabbit Hop, having that bonus to the initiative roll so you can get in there and start kicking people more quickly. I mean, imagine just like a Muay Thai kickboxer monk.
Oh, let's go. Like with the wraps, the wraps on his feet, whoa, that'd be so cool. Oh, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, every time you make an unarmed strike, you're just, this huge rabbit leg rears back and then like a whip just popping some guy in the face.
Kangaroos can kill people when they kick them. Like that's a real thing. So yeah, that would be so messy. Gosh, yeah. The rabbit turned predator.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Awesome. That's cool. I like that. Sorry for the random question. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No problem. We do love getting deeply geeky in Crunch Squad over here.
Both Ned and I are pushing up our glasses with the one finger.
Yes. Well, everybody, thanks so much for joining us here for this week's episode of Crunch Squad. We hope that you've enjoyed listening as much as we've enjoyed geeking out about all kinds of supremely geeky things. Now, from wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a review. It helps boost our ratings throughout each podcast service. It puts our shows in other people's recommended feeds, and it lets us know that you like what we're doing. Every time we see a new review come in, a little screenshot sent to the group text, and just warms our hearts immensely to see that. If you would like to write something longer than a review, you could also email us at icastfireball2020@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, and we're hoping to get the word out there and set this podcast on fire. Now, to get the most recent up-to-date content from all of us here at iCast Fireball, please follow us on Instagram and X with the handle icastfireball20. I just called it X, and that felt weird. Follow us on Twitter, icastfireball20. There you can get possible sneak peeks of upcoming episodes, and just interesting insights from the players in DM, and also some behind-the-scenes shots of us making this incredibly fun world. Now, as always, the part where I plug my own podcast, and it still doesn't stop feeling weird to do that. But yeah, we've got all of our Fate campaigns that we do. We are currently, as of recording, in the midst of our Noirnia campaign, which has been a blast and a half. Absolutely loved it. And by the time you're listening to this, we probably will have started recording for our Avatar Legends upcoming campaign set in Republic City in a theme park created by Icknick Blackstone Varric. Ooh. So if you like Varric from the Legend of Korra series, you're probably going to enjoy the shenanigans that we're going to get up to in this presumably first ever theme park to exist in the Avatarverse. So go take a listen to that. Let's see, what else? I suppose that's it. Lastly, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends and fellow wacky adventurers. But until next time, I've been Ned, your host for Crunch Squad, and I've been joined by
Josh, who plays Buster Biltwater.
Keep the fire going, and we'll see you all next time.
Boing.